We have summarize for context, and then that's it. Summarize for context, we discussed this last week in last week's speaking session. We talked about retell lecture. Summarize for context is very similar to retell lecture. The only difference here is that instead of speaking, you are going to write it down. So in speaking, you can make a lot of grammatical errors and still get a 90, but here you cannot do that. So here also the point, the strategy has to be the same as for retell lecture. That is, while listening, you have to listen with an intent. You have to prepare your mind for listening and understanding what the lecturer is talking about. You have to basically practice it out. Okay? It's even a slight, moment of not concentrating enough will, spoil the entire thing. So it's very, very important that you stay focused. Take notes while listening. Make a lot of frequently repeated words, numbers, years, events. Understand the context of the lecture, what the lecturer is basically talking about. That is very important. If you understand the context, then the comprehension becomes even more easier. Make sure that you have noted down at least 2 key points, because those key points is something that will be there in your summary. Follow the rules strictly. Write between 50 to 70 words. You should only write between 50 to 70 words. You can use multiple sentences here. So 3 to 4 sentences you can easily write. Just make sure that you follow these rules. Let's do one practice and then we will just wind this up. Are you guys in a mood to listen to this? Are you guys focused enough? Okay, wait. All right, so if you guys are ready, then I'm going to play this. Are you guys here? Yes, no? So this is the last one. All right, so listen with an intent to understand. You should make that effort to understand it. All right, so I'm going to play this.
Okay, so moving on from last week's lecture on modern understandings of human hearing, this week we're talking about olfaction, or the sense of smell. For decades, scientists have believed that smell was a fairly unimportant source of information for us in comparison with other of our 5 senses. They thought that the human capability for detecting and identifying smells was pretty poor, certainly nowhere near as sophisticated as our animal ancestors. In most circumstances, we rely on our eyes and ears to provide us with knowledge about our surroundings. But the human capacity for smell is actually very powerful. A 2014 study demonstrated that people can distinguish between over 1 trillion different smells, but we don't have the language to describe such subtle differences in odor. Plus, a lot of smelling takes place on a subconscious level. Unlike with hearing or vision, for instance, olfactory information from our nasal receptors is not passed directly to the part of our brain associated with consciousness. Instead, it is routed through parts of the brain responsible for emotions and memories. So we may feel a reaction triggered by a smell before we're even aware that we've smelled anything. Now that biologists understand that the sense of smell operates differently from the other senses, they believe that human sensitivity to smell may be on a par with most other animals.
So let me see some notes that you have written. What is the context of the lecture? All of you got that? What the lecturer was talking about? Basically, smelling. Okay. Sensitivity of human smell. Okay. Ooh, oh, nice one. We have, let me go through it one by one. So Manoj has written a lot of things here. Meeting last week lecture, okay. Human hearing, sense of smell. Decades not important compared to other sense. Human capability, animal reply. Human capacity. 1 trillion smell. Okay, subconscious level processes. Part explained. Biology understands cell operation better than other senses. Okay. Power of smelling. Ram has written human hearing last week. Okay. This week smell. 5 senses. Smell. Pretty. Okay. Pretty poor humans compared to animals. 1 trillion smells routed to part of brain emotions and memory. No one part of the brain. Okay. So basically, we need to form sentences based on this context between 550 to 870, not 850 to 70 words. Yeah, I think you meant 70. Human hearing, a fraction on senses. Smelling is important, sophisticated with animal senses, animal ancestors. Human capacity for smell is powerful. 1 trillion different smells, but not as language to explain. At conscious level, native resources don't go directly brain, but through emotions and memories, reaction is triggered, sense of smell operate differently from us. Smell, human versus other animals, trillions, different smell, subconscious. Yeah, very good actually. So I think a lot of you have, see, this is where you have to understand what is your comfortability level. So don't, I mean, some of you might be thinking that a lot of you have written a lot of words here. So maybe basically that is the way they have practiced it, and that is something that they are really comfortable with. I have seen students who do not even take any notes but still completely focus on it and then come up with beautiful sentences. So it's very subjective. So you have to understand there are 2 different activities that you are doing at the same time. That is, you are taking notes and you are listening to it. This happens mostly in summarized spoken text compared to write from dictation and or any other listening activity, because here is where you are looking for details. So I think most of you have done well, but I want to see some model answers also. Yeah, so last week's lecture was on human hearing. This week it is smelling. So those are not required. Completely focus on smelling. So that is the focus, right? Again, understand that there is no perfect answer for it, ideal answer for it. There is no single perfect answer for it. There can be multiple perfect answers. So make sure that you write meaningful sentences. Think about all those conventions that we talked about. Frame meaningful sentences, 3 sentences, more than enough. Should we reproduce exact sentences? You can. It's up to you. You can still use same sentences, but it has to convey meaning, because speaking language is different from writing. The speaking style is different from writing style. So you have to ensure that those things, you are not including those in your writing. So are you guys working on the summary, or should I show you the model straight away? I'm assuming that you guys are framing a summary, so I should give you some time. Is my assumption correct? Okay. Okay. So the lecture was about human smell, which is an important source of information. He also mentioned the powerfulness of human smell, which can distinguish 1 trillion different smell types. Additionally, he also, additionally he also told the smell happens in subconscious mind, not in the same way as that of ear and eye, and it is routed through memory. Additionally, he also, you use either additionally or also, because both are same, right? So the smell happens in subconscious mind, not in the same way as that of ear and eye, and it is routed to memory. Also mentioned the powerfulness of human smell, which can distinguish 1 trillion different smell types. Additionally, he mentioned that smell happens in subconscious mind, not in the same way as that of ear and eye, and it is routed to memory. Okay. Manaja, human sense of smelling is sophisticated. Human sense of smelling is sophisticated. Sense, are we missing something there? Sense among other senses which takes place at subconscious level, where nasal receptors are directly connected to brain, emotions and memories. Human sense of smell is powerful and have different mechanisms from other senses. Okay. Human sense of smell is sophisticated. Okay, so human sense of smell, are we missing any article there? Either you should have said human sense of smell is the most sophisticated sense among other senses, because you are mentioning about among other senses, or human sense of smell is a sophisticated sense among other senses. Kind of. So this is, so you have to, whatever you have written, I think if you try to read it aloud, you will be able to catch some of these mistakes. Yes, so, yes, Mansa. Because I think, because you have mentioned among other senses, human sense of smell is the most sophisticated sense among other senses. Something that you might have meant to write, which you might have missed in this case. Samvida, human smelling is different from all other senses, and the human capacity for smell is powerful and can differentiate 1 trillion smells. Perfect sentence. There is no particular language which can explain the varieties of smell. Variety spelling is wrong. Is it wrong? Varieties. No, that's correct. Even in subconscious state, humans can sense smell, but the nasal receptors don't go directly to brain, but through emotions and memories, and when the reactions are triggered. Perfect. Even in subconscious state, humans can sense smell, but the nasal receptors don't go directly to brain, but through emotions and memories. The lecturer mentioned about the power of smelling. Scientists identified that different smelling from human can capture smell in a very powerful way. Furthermore, it mentioned. So you are talking about lecturer, and you are talking about it. Furthermore, if we had used the word lecture, then it's fine. Furthermore, he mentioned about the conscious level of smelling and how it is routed through the part of brain. Biologist. See, I was talking about one important aspect. What is it? Are we missing something here? Are we? Okay, so I'm talking about this particular response now. See, do you think you should capitalize B here? Yes, no. Okay, so such proofreading is very, very important. The speaker spoke about not very good usage. Speaker spoke about the meeting that was held last week. Okay, she mentioned about the importance of human smell being to be part of the discussion. She also highlighted the point that brain recognizes more than 1 trillion smell and will later route it through different parts of memory responsible for motion and memory. Overall, the presentation gave good overview of human smell. Yeah. So, Manoj, there are a lot of fillers in your summary. That is, speaker spoke about the meeting. I mean, and this is again was not a very important point. Again, this is another filler. She mentioned about importance of, again, she also highlighted the point that overall the presentation gave good review of you. So the more and more you use fillers, see, you are only writing 50 to 70 words, right? The more and more you use such fillers, and if you are writing, let's say, close to 55 words, and out of those, if 20 words are fillers, then you might be missing out something important from the content, on the content part, which is not very good. So try to reduce these fillers and try to use more content. Important points. Is this clear, Manoj? Yeah. So what exactly do you mean by fillers? yeah, the speaker was talking about, he highlighted the importance of, he also mentioned overall the presentation gave, right? So, I mean, those are extra things, I mean, those are things that you're adding. Now, if you're writing a 70 word summary, then these may not matter much because the proportion is different there, right? But if you're writing it close to 50 word or 55 word summary, then the proportion may not match. Okay, so the fillers you have to keep it to the minimum, and you can actually use it in the worst case situation. For example, let's say you missed out uh, at that particular point, something happened and you are not able to focus much. Such, I mean, such times, I mean, those times you can effectively use such fillers. But if you are using a lot of the point, the logically speaking, what happens when you use a lot of fillers is you are reducing the space to write the actual content. That's it. Arvind, is it a good habit to add fillers? It is, what I was trying to say is it is not a very good habit to add fillers. You can use fillers if you think that you have to um, if you think you have missed out lecture, you are not able to focus very clearly. That time you anyways have to write something, right? So that is why. No, no, should we write last sentence with in conclusion? No, no, you don't have to write in conclusion because most of the times you may not have a conclusion of it. You don't have to write a conclusion. You mentioned 2 points and maybe I mean, if you address two main key aspects of the lecture, you pretty much have covered everything because it's anyways a 60 to 90-second lecture. So among the senses of human sense, among the senses of human sense, ayyo, among the senses of human sense of smell is the most sophisticated sense. Okay, avoid repeating the same word again and again and again. Sense, 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 sense. Understand that you are again writing a 50 to 70 words. It's not just about comma, it's about the using the word sense. You have used that same word multiple times, not in a paragraph, but in the same sentence, which is not good. Avoid repetition of words. Humans can differentiate approximately 1 trillion different smells. Because of processing of smell happens in the nostrils, unlike the other senses, which happens in the brain. Okay. I think this may not be 50 words. So you have to write few more, Arvind, and you have to avoid repeating the same words again and again and again. Is this clear, Arvind? So here I may have to add if you have nothing else to write, then yes, right? Because you have to anyways write 50. Because if you write anything less than 50, if you write anything less than 50 or more than 70, points will be deducted. So this is something you should not know. You should be within 50 to 70. For a safe side, you can take it as 50. Not lower limit, not upper limit. Somewhere in between. All right, do you have any questions? So again, it's all about how you answer the question. We cannot compare one model answer and say that, okay, this is the perfect answer. You may have, done so much, I mean, you may have done a lot of justice to the content and you might be missing just few points that you will have to figure out. That's the only thing that you need to do to improve. Okay. This is a model answer. Previously, scientists thought that humans are a weak sense of smell. Now they are learning that we are capable of smelling as a large range of odors as any other animal, but our brains process smell differently compared to the information coming from other senses. Instead of triggering conscious thought, smells produce activity in the part of our brain responsible for emotions and memory. Right. One important thing I saw some of you just left it as an some of you wrote that it works differently and just left it like that. Human sense of smell is powerful and have a different mechanism from other senses. So so again, one would expect, okay, understand that the reader would expect how it is different. If you are writing that sentence, you have to ensure that that point is addressed. Mansa? Yeah. So what you have done here is human sense of smell is powerful and has different mechanisms from other senses, right? Now in the lecture, the mechanism was also mentioned, but you just left it mentioning that it has a different mechanism. So understand that whatever you are writing it for a reader. So reader should basically will have this feeling that, okay, what different mechanism. You have to address that aspect. What is that different mechanism? What is it? How is it different from other senses? You should, if you are including this sentence, you should answer this point also. How is it different? Then only it will be a complete summary.